Hello everybody and welcome to a new form of video I'm going to be doing called review videos. They are going to be videos that I'm going to review certain TV shows and movies. And I'm going to base those reviews in the Marvel and Star Wars world. I was thinking of doing the DC ones, like Arrow and Flash and so on. And I love those shows, by the way. I really do. But it was too much. I was not going to be able to do all those. I would have never stopped doing review videos, especially when the season starts. So I thought I'll just stick with Marvel and Star Wars. I thought those are basically my favorite, genres of sci-fi and the heroes. So we are going to start off with season 2, Gifted, episode 1, which was on the other night, and I'm going to give you fair warning. There will be spoilers. I'm going to recap season 1, so there's going to be a little bit of spoilers there, probably a lot, and then there's going to be spoilers for episode 1, because I'm going to not only just review it, I'm going to run down the show and get, and hopefully at the end of it, if anybody wants to talk about it, hey, let's talk about it. I would love to, because I love talking about this stuff. So, to recap season 1, the Resistance at the end kind of split up. The Cuckoos apparently were working for the Hellfire Club. So they decided they wanted to go another way. They didn't like the way the Resistance was going, so they decided we want to, go our own ways. And their way was going to be a little bit more violent. They're going to attack more, probably save less lives from what they were talking about. And so they basically asked who wants to go with them. And Polaris definitely went with them because she basically destroyed a plane at the end of season 1. Right at the end of season 1. That had a certain character on it, which I'm going to talk about in a second. Also, Andy left. And to say that his sister and mother and father were not happy, it'd be kind of an understatement. So Sage also went. She was the hacker or computer mutant in the Resistance. So basically that's the gist of what happened at the end of season 1. So, and now, like I was saying earlier, there's a certain character that was killed, apparently, in the plane, and that was the Doctor character. I think his name is Roderick Campbell, and he was the guy who basically was kind of like the bad guy, along with Agent Turner, which, hopefully he shows up too, because he was a pretty good character. But he basically was he was the one making those mutants hunt the other mutants, and he was going after the siblings. He was really interested in the Von Strucker siblings. And a lot of people don't know this, but in the comic books, he had another name, alter ego, if you will, and it was Ahab. Ahab was a mutant from the future, basically a cyborg from the future, and he controlled mutants and calling them hounds, very similar to what he was doing in season 1. And in fact, he was also a horseman of apocalypse, and he was Famine. He was pretty tough character. One of his hounds was very famous, Rachel Summers, who was the daughter of Cyclops and Jean Grey, I believe. So the thing is, as I said, apparently died. If you don't see a body, all bets are off. That's usually the way it goes in TV shows and movies. They could come back. So the question is Roderick Campbell going to transform into Ahab and come back in another season? Now, the thing with that is, we all know, if you don't, newsflash, Disney bought Fox. So now Disney owns the rights to all the characters, which is fantastic, because now you're going to see the X-Men and Fantastic Four coming over to the Avengers world. So that is going to be amazing. But they also own now what's going on TV. So we don't know how much longer this TV show will go. No matter how successful, we don't know. Maybe they want to do something else. So hopefully, if there is another season, maybe we'll get to see Ahab. So just a few thoughts there about season 1. So let's get on to season 2, episode 1. So, in the new season, we have a new villain, and her name is Reva, and she belongs to the Hellfire Club. Apparently, though, they want to change the name of Hellfire Club, maybe because it's too scary, to the Inner Circle. And right away we realize Reva's not fooling around because she has the entire council, killed. she has them all killed because they don't agree with her, that she's going rogue on them. And the Cuckoos help by... What happens is she opens her mouth and like a scream or something like that. It's almost like Banshee. And it's like, and it kind of like neutralizes them. You know, they still move around and everything, but they can't use their powers, and neutralize just enough so the Cuckoos can shoot every single one of them. So, the end of the club, and all hail Reva. So, let's see what kind of villain she is. And so then, now, Andy, the son, is in the show, obviously, and he's the one who went with them. And now he is blonde. And now, basically, he's more like the comics. Because in the comics, I think they call themselves Fenris when Andy and his sister are together. Because they have this... It's the same thing in the TV show. They hold their hands and they have, like, a lot of power. So, I wonder eventually if they're going to go that way. They could end up being villains. Who knows? But... That was interesting to see him blonde. I was like, hey, what the heck? So, as the show goes on, the Sentinel services have been very busy. They have been raiding mutant compounds over and over, mutant hideouts and so forth. And they've been, getting mutants. I'm not sure what they're doing with them. Because, I mean, I know the last time they put them in that concentration camps almost. So, it's going to be interesting to see what's happening to them. As they're raiding, like, John and Marcos go and rescue a group, and as does Lauren and Blink. They go off and rescue another group. In one of the groups, there's a girl there that has a sister, and they kind of get separated, so that's not good. And now Katie, the mom, she works in like a doctor's office, and it looks like they treat mutants. I'm not really sure, because I swear I saw more mutants in there. I'm not positive. So, and that girl I was talking about, how that Lauren and Blink rescued, and she lost her sister. She treats the girl, the mom, Katie treats the girl, who apparently has, like, I think it's telekinesis powers, I believe. I'm not over sure, but it looks like that's what she has. And so she helps her, and we also find out in that doctor's office that there's a secret room in some kind of, like, supply closet that the wall comes down, and she goes, and there's the father working on, like, new IDs and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind of neat. So maybe it is some kind of mutant place they can... I'm not sure, but she looked like she was trying to make sure no one saw, so I don't know. I guess we'll learn more. Lorna is going to have her baby, and they show a building that they're going to have the baby in. Apparently there's no metal in it, which is a smart thing, considering how powerful she is when it comes to metal. So, they're going to take this building. Apparently the building's not empty yet. So the Cuckoos, they go to this place. There's like security, like a security guard gate, and they go up to it. And the Cuckoos use a really cool Jedi mind trick on them, basically saying, "You don't need to see our IDs." And he's like, nah, take off, go ahead. So it was kind of neat. And they go in and they talk to, I guess, the foreman of the building. And Sage is with them, by the way. It's good to see that she's doing something. And they apparently they're trying to force the guy who owns the place to evacuate the building, get rid of everybody there, and saying there's some kind of leakage. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but they're basically bribing him. They have a suitcase full of money, and he's like resistant at first, and they're like, "Look, we're gonna either do it this way, you can take the money and go, or we're gonna take it by force." And I guess the guy realized, what, I think I'll take the money. And smart move. Who knows what the Cuckoos would have made him do? Maybe cluck like a chicken or run around in his underwear. Basically, don't cross them. So that's what they did. So next we know that the girl in the doctor's office, she's staying temporarily with Blink and John, apparently, who live together now since I guess they're dating. And they're going to help her find her sister. So That's pretty nice of them. I mean, I guess they should. And John can track like crazy. So it'll be interesting to see how that turns out. We also find out that something is wrong with Reed. The father, he's having headaches and he's taking pills. What could it be? Could be very interesting to see where this leads to. And it actually leads somewhere in this episode. And also Lauren now goes out and up to the rooftop of a building. And she basically sees Andy. And she's super happy to see him. She hugs him and everything. And all of a sudden, Andy grabs her hand. And they power up. And she doesn't want to do it. And he's holding on. He goes, this is who we are, basically. And next thing you know, she wakes up screaming. So it was a dream. But was it a dream? I mean, really, I don't know if it really was a dream or not. You know, it seemed because she noticed he had blonde hair. Well, she hasn't seen him since he left, and he had brown hair. So what is that about? How they must be? You know, are they really connected that way? I mean, we know they're connected, but dang, that's pretty heavy. You know, she talked to her parents about it, and they kind of like, maybe it's nothing. You know, but the mom is getting really fed up with it. She wants to go find Andy. So basically, she ends up calling Marcus and said, "Look, I've had enough. We're gonna do something." So that can't lead to no good, right? Speaking of Andy, Polaris ends up talking to Andy, saying that she had a bad feeling about trying to have the baby. You know, I mean, not the baby itself, but just having the baby. Something didn't feel right about the whole situation. And basically tells Andy that she needs him to protect the baby no matter what. You know, and basically, remind him that he's a Von Strucker. You know, no one's going to mess with him. And, if something happens to her, don't worry about her, but worry about the baby. So, okay. So, that's kind of interesting. It's neat to see that she is trusting Andy. Because, her and Sage are the only ones from the group, I believe. I think maybe a few others, but she's the one. Looks like they're the closest. So, and then Blink and John, they go out searching for the sister, but Blink has to put on contacts. So when she puts them on, her powers don't work. It's like the contacts block her powers, which is really neat. I didn't know that. So now we know her eyes are the basis of her powers. She uses her eyes to see the breaches that she can open. So that's really cool. And she had to put paint on, so the scars weren't there, so she didn't look like she still had purple hair. But I guess, purple hair doesn't make you immune, because if that did, there'd be a ton of mutants around in the real world. Let me tell you what. So, yeah, I thought that was really interesting how that worked. I never thought about that, but that was very cool. So, remember earlier I told you about Katie and Marcos. Katie called Marcos in the morning and said, look, we're going to do something. So, they decide to go and basically go secretly see. Secretly, I mean, they don't tell nobody, which is not a good sign. No, if they're not telling anybody, you're doing something wrong. So that's not good. And they go to see a mutant hacker by the name of Wire. Now, they need to get information, trying to find out, what happened to Lorna and Andy. And of course, it's really shady. And of course, he double crosses them, or tries to, because they end up getting Lorna and Marcos end up getting the upper hand. Katie. And somehow, and she mentions it before they go in, I've been training. And he's like, yeah, but these guys are pretty shifty. These guys are heavy duty. She knows karate. And I hate that. I hate that. When all of a sudden, she takes the gun out of the guy's hand and does this karate move on him. And I'm like, this is stupid. Because movies do this, and TV shows do this. They take a character, and all of a sudden, normal everyday character, who's cool, you like the character, and all of a sudden make them able to fight. Not every character needs to know how to fight. Really, they don't. Or not every character needs to know how to shoot a gun. They could be just a normal everyday character. And it bothers me that they made her all of a sudden karate woman. It's like, ugh. Now, granted, she got grazed by a shot, one of the shots that rang out. When she took the gun and Marcus did his thing, basically a shot was rung out and she got grazed by the bullet. And she was acting all tough, and it was so silly watching her act tough. That part of this show I did not like. It's just ridiculous. That's whatever, because the thing is, that's not her character for me. So Can she change? Sure, but it's too quick for me. So that's how I feel about that. If you guys feel different, feel free to tell me. So I told you John and Blink went to go find the sister, and apparently they lost the trail. They couldn't find it, and of course the girl, the sister's name is Jasmine. I don't remember the girl's name, and she wasn't very happy, obviously. But they said basically there was no struggle. It looks like she just disappeared. Now that's neat. That means that Sentinel Services didn't take him, but did the Inner Circle take him? So that's going to be interesting to see where that goes. So I'm kind of curious, and I wonder what kind of powers her sister has. So Reed is now, as the show goes on, Reed is now shown taking pills, and no one knows what's ailing him. I'm just like, what the heck's wrong with him? And all of a sudden, something happens to his hand and arm. It starts like rippling, and I mean, just like a weird looking. If you saw the Venom trailer, kind of like the way it looks like that, like it's underneath the skin, and it's just weird looking. I was like, oh, that's crazy. I have a feeling, and I believe from season 1, they said that he had mutant powers and that he was in the hospital for a while. They thought he was sick, but he wasn't. What was going on was his father was giving him a treatment to keep his mutant powers hidden, and it worked. And forever he thought he wasn't a mutant. Well, now it looks like his mutant powers is coming back. I can't wait to see what it is. I'm really curious about it. So as the show goes on, it's time for the baby. Her baby's coming soon. Polaris' baby decides, I'm done cooking. I'm coming out. So her powers are just going wonkers. I mean, just going crazy. It's causing all sorts of power surges and outages and stuff like that, and going all over the place. And so that's one of the reasons why they're going to that building, because it's crazy. Marcos, meanwhile, is in his room, looking over the information they got from that mutant hacker wire. And the lights start flickering big time. And he recognizes it and says, wait a minute. So he takes off out of the room. And you go now to Reed is basically looking like he's going to tell his wife about what's going on in his arm. What's happening. And of course, Marcus goes busting in the room and tells him, you got to come up to the roof and see this right now. So they go up to the room, and sure enough, the entire city is blinking, basically. And I don't mean the character blink, I mean electric blink, just flashing and everything. So I'm like, oh my gosh. So her powers are, she is just uber power right now. So he knows what it is. He knows that's her. And so they're off they go. They need to go find her. So there is a problem with delivering the baby, apparently. The doctor's telling them that she has some kind of mental block. It's mental. She's ready to have the baby, but it's mentally she's not. And so Reva and the Cuckoo start talking over in the corner, and Andy's like, wait, what's going on here? That's like, this is what she was talking about. So when they come out of their little huddle and come towards Lorna, he steps in front, basically, what you doing? and they're like, we're trying to help her. And he's like, no, you're going to tell me what you're doing. And finally they convince Blonde Andy that what they're going to do is they're going to help her. They're going to help her have the baby. And they convince him, and he's like, okay. So the Cuckoos end up showing her, like they get into her mind and show her a vision of the future. And they're standing almost like, it looks like the White House, actually. And there's a ton of people, and they're standing there like on the top steps, and everyone's clapping, and it's peace and freedom, and there's a different kind of like United States flag in the background, and her daughter's there and comes running up, and basically they're like, isn't that what you want for your daughter? And she's like, more than anything. So she, and it works, she ends up, having the baby. As everyone else is running around trying to find her, they can't find her because when she has the baby, the power stops, all flickering, everything goes out, all power is out, and they don't know what happened. They don't know if she died, if something happened to the baby. So Marcos is just losing his mind about it. They're in the streets, just standing there, and it's just really weird. There's no traffic anywhere, just them. It was strange. So they're just standing there, wondering what's going on, and the funny thing about it is they were tracking, apparently, the electric currents or electricity in the wires. John was I didn't know John could do that. I know he could track people and stuff like that and sense and stuff like that, and he could hear really good. But electric currents, really? Okay, that's a new one to me. So, whatever. Let's just add another power to him, I guess. I don't know. So they go back. You go back now to the delivery room, and there is Lorna with the baby, and they have beautiful little baby, and I think she names her Dawn. So that was the end of the episode, and I really enjoyed the show. I thought it was good, except for the karate part where Mom knows karate all of a sudden. Blonde Annie's going to take some getting used to. But I thought about it, and it jives with the comic book, so I'm good with it. I'm good. I hope they keep it. It took a second. It was a little shock, but I'm like, what? But I'm good with it. We don't know anything about Reva. I don't know. I mean, she was decent in the show, so we'll see. The Cuckoos obviously are going to be a big part of it. The Resistance, I'm not sure what's going to happen with them. So not a ton happened. They just were so busy running in circles trying to find Andy. And the thing is, the mom kept saying how they need to find Andy. They need to find Andy. And they kept reminding her, the daughter was a reminder, look, Andy left on his own. I mean, and she's right. And the father agreed. And he's like, if he wants to leave him alone, So they still haven't found Marcus. They still haven't found Andy. And they're not sure. I believe they know they're close because they were following it. So I believe they know they're close. So that was basically the episode of 1 of season 2 of The Gifted. Anybody who had watched it, feel free to comment. I'd love to talk to y'all about it. What's going on with Reed? That's another one. Is he going to hold his power back, or how powerful is he going to be? And you got a whole family of mutants except for the mom, the karate mom. Sorry, God, it still bothers me. I just hate that. So, oh yeah, and hopefully Agent Turner is going to show up. But Agent Turner was nowhere to be found. Agent Turner from season 1. So hopefully he shows up, and maybe we'll get, as the season goes on, hints of, is Campbell alive? And is he going to turn into Ahab? Which would be awesome. Oh my gosh, awesome. And I also hope in the season that they maybe show more mainstream. There it is. I couldn't remember the word. Mainstream X-Men. More famous ones. I mean, granted, Polaris is quite famous, so is Blink. Well, sort of, but Polaris more so. And John's character is too, but I'd like to see more of them. So, and again, we don't know what's going to happen with this season because Disney is basically owns Fox now, and we don't know if they're going to continue the season. But as a first episode of a season, I like it. I thought it was very good. I enjoyed it, and if you didn't, feel free to comment. If you did, feel free to comment. I'm happy to talk about it. So we'll leave off there, and I'll be back with another review of season 2, episode 2. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to leave a like, subscribe, and this way when I'm posting another review, we can talk about it. And like I said, I'm going to do more than Gifted. I'm going to be doing Star Wars Resistance is one, Star Wars Clone Wars, which I love. And next year there's going to be a Star Wars TV series. Later this October, they're going to do Daredevil. I can't wait for that. I might do a review of Iron Fist. I might. We'll see. I finished watching that, so we'll see if I do one of those. So anyways, thanks for listening, and I hope you all come back for my next review. We'll see you all again. Bye-bye.